Ma'am, step away from the car. Hands up. Get on the ground immediately.
Officer, this is my car. I'm just loading my shopping. Everything is fine.
You are resisting. Get on the ground right now.
The officer thought he would break an ordinary black woman in a parking lot, handcuffing her for suspicious shopping at her own Mercedes. But he didn't even suspect that standing before him was a United States federal judge with 19 years on the bench, a woman who had put men like him behind bars. This blind rage of profiling cost him his career forever and cost the city of San Diego $675,000 in compensation. Watch until the end to see the cop's face distort from smugness to pure horror at the moment of revelation. This woman didn't panic, didn't cry, and didn't beg. She was Judge Keisha Langford, 52 years old, having sat on the federal bench of the Southern District of California for nearly 2 decades. On that Saturday afternoon, she was simply running ordinary errands, going to the store for household items just like thousands of Americans, dressed in jeans and a blazer, with no frills. The car was registered to her, the keys were in her hand, and bags from local boutiques were in the trunk. A perfect picture of normal life, interrupted by this arrogant cop with a prejudiced gaze. Hutchins approached aggressively, ignoring her calm questions. "What crime have I committed? On what grounds are you stopping me?" He only grunted something about a report of a suspicious person. Vague, lacking specifics, simply a black woman near an expensive car. Keisha, with her legal instincts, immediately recognized a Fourth Amendment violation: detention without reasonable suspicion. She slowly took out her wallet, showed her driver's license, where the address matched the car's registration, and pressed the key fob. The lights flashed, and the locks clicked, proving ownership. "Satisfied?" she asked evenly. But Hutchins didn't back down. His ego wouldn't let him admit a mistake in front of onlookers. "You are behaving defiantly. Stand here while I check," he snapped, walking away to his patrol car, even though the system had already confirmed a clean record, no warrants, a perfect license. The crowd around them grew. One witness started recording on her phone, and that became a ticking time bomb. Returning, Hutchins brazenly demanded a search. "I have a suspicion of stolen goods in the trunk." Keisha didn't flinch. Quote 7. The officer's face turned red with anger. He was used to submission, not arguments like these. "Are you a lawyer?" he blurted out, and that's when she said the words that made the parking lot freeze. "I am a United States federal judge, 19 years on the bench, and you have just violated every rule so badly that qualified immunity will not help you." Hutchins stared, his hands trembling, but instead of apologizing, he did the worst possible thing. "Hands behind your back. You are under arrest for obstruction." And he slapped handcuffs on the woman who sent corrupt cops to prison. Keisha was put in the patrol car, which smelled of coffee and chemicals, and driven to the station. 11 minutes of silent hell while she mentally drafted a lawsuit. In the booking area, Officer Carmen Rodriguez, a 12-year veteran, opened the purse and saw the holographic federal court badge with a photo and seal. "Where did you arrest her? What was she doing?" she asked quietly, and when she heard loading bags into her own car, her eyes went dark. Rodriguez rushed to Lieutenant Marcus Freeman, 21 years on the force, who turned white after one call to the chief. "Judge Langford, you are free. I apologize." 2 hours and 33 minutes of humiliation, and she was home, already calling the chief judge of the district, a civil rights attorney friend, and the ACLU. But he, Hutchins, didn't yet know what awaited him. The video would explode to 15 million views, and karma would run the bill up to $675,000. Keisha sat in the back seat of the patrol car, on the hard plastic seat saturated with the smell of stale coffee and acrid disinfectant. Her wrists shackled in cold metal, while her thoughts raced ahead, building an ironclad lawsuit based on every article of the 4th and 14th Amendments. She didn't tremble with fear. No, this woman, who had delivered justice to corrupt cops and civil rights violators for 2 decades, felt only a cold confidence, like before passing a sentence. She knew that every word, every gesture of Hutchins was now evidence against him. The officer drove the car in silence for 11 minutes to the station, grabbing the radio and then tossing it back, his smug smirk in the rearview mirror melting away, replaced by sweat on his forehead. He sensed a trap, but the ego of a blind man wouldn't let him turn back. What happened in the station lobby was the beginning of his fall into an abyss from which there was no return. At the precinct, other cops cast sideways glances at the elegant black woman in handcuffs, unsuspecting that they were looking at a living legend of the federal court, until Officer Carmen Rodriguez opened the wallet and froze, staring at the holographic badge with the United States seal, Keisha's photo, and the inscription, Federal Judge, Southern District of California. "Where did you get her? What was she doing?" whispered Rodriguez, and when Hutchins grunted, "Loading bags into a car on a suspicious call," her face turned to stone with disgust. She darted to the office of Lieutenant Marcus Freeman, who, after one call to the duty chief, came out pale as a ghost. "Judge Langford, this is a monstrous mistake. You are free immediately. Please accept my deepest apologies." Keisha, without blinking an eye, demanded everything in writing: reports, body cam and dash cam footage, the arrest protocol, and received them that same night, her voice ringing with the steel of a judge accustomed to obedience. But Hutchins, that tyrant in uniform, blinded by bias, had already crossed the line. His rage mixed with stupidity drove him to arrest her for obstruction, even though Keisha was merely asserting her rights, and now the parking lot video, filmed by the witness, was flying across the web, gaining 3 million views in a day. He sat in the station, sweating and muttering about suspicion of a fake ID, while Freeman personally removed the handcuffs and escorted her to an ordered Uber. 2 hours and 33 minutes of nightmare ended. But for Hutchins, this was only the prologue to hell. At home, Keisha dialed the chief judge, her civil rights lawyer friend, and the ACLU, and by Monday, the scandal exploded. The police chief called with apologies, but she coldly announced a 23-page federal lawsuit, complete with video timestamps and Supreme Court citations. City lawyers watched the tapes and gave up. "This can't be washed away. The video is crystal clear. We detained a federal judge for shopping in her own car." The San Diego Internal Affairs investigation lasted 4 weeks and tore Hutchins to shreds. The call from the mall security guard turned out to be pure racism. Looked out of place near expensive cars, with no facts. Hutchins had fixated on the black woman immediately, without grounds. Data showed a pattern. Over 3 years, he stopped black drivers 2.8 times more often than the average, searched them 3.4 times more actively, and arrested them with the same bias. No one had dug into the numbers before. 6 weeks later, he was fired with the citation, unlawful detention, profiling, policy violation, and conduct unbecoming. The union advised him to surrender. "The video is too clear, the victim is too significant." Hutchins tried to appeal, but retreated, his career burned to the ground. Other departments shunned him like the plague, and he faded into nowhere. Private security fired him. He left the state in disgrace, muttering in one interview about a non-compliant judge, but unable to name a single suspicious gesture. Keisha's lawsuit was settled 9 months later. The city of San Diego paid out $675,000 in compensation, which she donated entirely to police reform, telling reporters, "The Department of Justice stepped into San Diego with an 8-month audit of 5 years of data. Black citizens were stopped more often and searched 3 times more actively, with less contraband found. The result was a 97-page report and a reform agreement with federal oversight for 3 years, mandatory bias training, a civilian oversight board, and an audit of stops by race. The parking lot video became a textbook case in California academies and constitutional law lectures. One 2-hour detention destroyed a career, squeezed out millions, and launched reforms for an entire department. Keisha Langford's story teaches, even with a federal judge's badge, you can be shackled for shopping if bias is blind. But when the truth comes out, karma hits like a sledgehammer. The system must change so that thousands of nameless, innocent people don't rot in handcuffs because of the color of their skin. If you believe the guilty party got what they deserved, like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new investigations.